All right, so we're back with another episode of Drop Your Noise. If you're new, my name is Kipti, the host of the show. And we always start off at the beginning of the month with an introduction to the theme. Does AI help us connect, or is it just keeping us comfortable? Now, I need to start how I came to this title. Okay, first of all, I met two amazing individuals in the last 6 months who spoke a lot about coming back to this thing of human connection. And from very much about the way it used to be, away from all the tech language. Last week, I was sitting with a friend of mine. We were having a nice chat and we were talking about the speed of Dubai. When I came here, I didn't realize how fast things are. I mean, literally, you have to blink your eyes and it's moving forward. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Not sure. But also in Dubai, did you know that it is really accelerating in the space of AI? And there's so much potential around it. It had me thinking about speed and how does it affect our lives on a much deeper level. I got a study, and I've mentioned this before, where we've shifted from using AI as a way to generate ideas and for business to using it for therapy. Also, AI is moving into our educational system. I may not be a parent, but it did have me thinking, what does that really mean on a much deeper level into our psyche? I'm not a therapist. I'm just sharing with you how I'm seeing it from the outside. So me and my friend, we were discussing about the speed of Dubai, and she said to me that, you have to be really ready and in the moment to act when the moment arises. And for me, I just stopped. I reflected on this. And she has a point. To be with speed, what does that mean? And the reason we like AI is because it's supposedly supposed to save us a lot of time. It's supposed to do all those tasks we don't like, so it frees up our time. But still, people are still fatigued and burnt out, just as when AI wasn't so well known. And it made me wonder if we're using it for therapy, we're using it for public speaking, we're using it as a practice ground to get perspectives from others in a much quicker way. Does that really mean that it's effective? I started thinking about being emotionally efficient versus emotionally expressive. Now, what do I mean by emotionally efficient? Yeah, you have an issue, you go onto AI, you type it in, what you're going through and getting some ideas out of it, how to approach a situation. But this is what we fail to understand. If we're in a situation, it's probably because we do not know a lot of other things that are probably affecting a certain situation. We don't have enough context. And this is where, as human beings, we will always reign. When it comes to social connections, you need to know the sides or the parts that you don't know. And AI is only going to give you information from its current lens, from what's happening now and what you have given it. That input will affect the output. But it also does not have the other side or the other perspective. And that, to me, needs a certain slowing down, stepping back, and discernment, right? Now, the other thing with AI is the sense of efficiency. We are robbing the very essence of enjoying life again. A lot of individuals who use AI is because we don't want to tell people what we're struggling with. We don't like being uncomfortable. We want a quick fix. Speed again, right? Anxiousness is a type of speed. But what happens with this kinds of speed and wanting that information far too quickly, we're not digesting and absorbing what's really being said. So I go back to this conversation with my friend. Yes, speed is necessary. Speed is great to have. But you got to be able to slow down inside to navigate that speed. Think about it like driving a car. You're driving a car on a hill and you're going 100 miles. But when it comes to a corner and you didn't know it's coming, you can see it from far. So you need to start slowing down beforehand to understand at what level to turn, how to turn, and at how much pace and space you need. None of that really is different from communications. But because we are at the moment in our lives where we're revering efficiency and we want speed, we are losing sight of our context. We think that by pushing it in, it'll be much easier and much quicker. Hey, listen, I am guilty of this too. When I have to publish a podcast and I'm always running against time, I don't know why. I procrastinate. I know I got to do it earlier, but when I get to the computer and I'm like, oh, I got a deadline, no time, I can actually just copy and paste and put it in because it's efficient. But what does that mean? By not checking, I may have like M dashes, which shows very clearly I've used AI. It also reflects I haven't given my audience much respect. You see, AI is supposed to help me be faster, but it shouldn't retract what the core message is that I want to deliver. So by copy and pasting, I'm just doing to really be doing, and I'm not respecting the audience. So being emotionally efficient does not mean emotionally expressive. If I take the time to read things through and say, okay, what does that really mean? I will start seeing the differences, like certain sentences belong in certain and different areas. But I need to step back and observe that. That leads into emotionally efficient or emotionally expressive, two of my amazing guests who talk about social connection. And this is what I really like. One is a positive psychologist who takes a completely different spin. I even admitted to her that I'm not so into positive psychology, but I really respect Dr. Louise's way of explaining it and the reason why behind it. She takes on what I like to think in Netherlands they call nuchter, the very grounded approach to it. And I just thought it was me, but to be able to listen to a doctor who explains it in a very calming way and even joyful, not positive, joyful way, it made me say, oh, this is the kind of world I want to live in. Then there is Bilal. Now, Bilal, when I met him in a podcast conference, I was so taken by his joyfulness and all about human connection. And he talks about this festival, Glastonbury, which I've heard about it, but I'm always like, oh, crowds don't want to do it. But when he spoke about the unity and the way humanity comes together and what he is doing with his podcast, I now listen to a podcast I never thought I would listen to, but I'm always left smiling because it reminds me back of the beauty and the joy of humanity. Now, I haven't forgotten, is it connecting or comfortable AI? Now, I've spoken to you on both sides. AI, its great usefulness, its efficiency. And I've also spoken about our desires to be connected with one another humanly. And sometimes it's better not to have that AI around just to connect. But what if it's supposed to meet us in the middle? I was left thinking about individuals who really do struggle communicating with others. I also know how much it takes to go to see someone and ask for support and help. The word therapy for me, it makes me feel almost depressed. It's almost like everybody was born broken and needs therapy for life. And it's something I don't subscribe to either. And so in some ways, AI can offer a different way in the sense that it can support individuals to ask questions and even maybe encourage them to step out of their comfort zone and try again. The only issue I still have with AI is that there's so much confirmation bias. It's that it's been developed by one voice and often does not have the nuances or the really little details that are necessary that would make all the difference in the way we approach situations. That leads me to these 3 bite-sized slogans that I want to share with you. Over the past month, I've been working very hard in getting my brand finally in order, or my programs in order. Think, talk, and thrive in modern times. Now, some of you know or may not know, because I'm terrible at talking about it, but I've published 2 books. One was called Befriend Your Mind, and the other was Drop Your Noise. And in both of these books, there's short slogans or reminders that helps us train our minds to be more aware in the moment, in the way we think and in the way we want to talk, especially when there's so much diversity around us. Rather than feeling broken and cut up, sometimes these reminders will support us to catch ourselves and say, can we do it a different way? And this month, I want to talk to you about two of them. The first slogan is, every day is a different day. And the second slogan is, have a relational authenticity. Now, why about AI, and is it making us comfortable or is it helping us connect? With these two reminders, even when you approach AI and you go on to AI, take into account every day is a different day. So therefore, every situation is differently. Every moment is differently. So when you put into the context and you want some information from AI, remember, AI will not know the different moments. And sharing those different key moments might make a difference, right? In what you want to get the answer for. Now, drop your noise, have a relational authenticity. I've taken it from someone else, from a book called Negotiating the Non-Negotiable. And it's by Daniel Shapiro. Highly, highly recommend this book. As many of you know, I wanted to be a diplomat, or maybe some of you don't know that. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do that was because I always felt that because we are so diverse in the world, we're always going to see things differently. And to be angry and think I'm better, my perspective is better than your perspective, to me, sometimes that can come a little bit superior. We're not really respecting one another. But I also know that sometimes some situations you just struggle to understand and grasp. I could talk about one of the awkward things currently in the world, but we're going to keep it into that simplicity. And navigating really uncomfortable conversations requires certain skills that are not very visible, that are not seen as efficient. It requires us to be patient. It requires us to be slow. And this is probably really key when working with AI. And have a relational authenticity. It's really saying the amount of authenticity we're going to bring to the table, it's relational. It's very complex, right? There's formal communication, there's informal communication. There is different types of cultural beliefs and values, and there is location and timing. All of these little things make a real big difference in the way we show up. Now, the way I speak in amongst my friends would be very different to when I speak amongst mentors, maybe, or even to my podcast guests. But it doesn't mean I'm not authentic. It's just that it depends on the relationship. It depends on these little things. And that requires a higher level of self-awareness. How do I make this into AI? How does I bridge AI to be comfortable and help me connect better? Is because we want to bring an awareness to the little nuances in a relationship, in a situation that will be needed in the context we feed AI to get a different output. Because really, you're using AI to support you to bridge and make connections. That's why we're really using AI. Last but not least, and this is to my upcoming project, I was thinking about the thrive part. How do we leverage going forward? Now, again, different environments ask for different pitches. And that really struck me because a couple of weeks ago, I said to somebody, I gave the best pitch ever. And why was that? Well, for a long time, I was trying to get the right pitch, the right phrases, and the right sentences. It was driving me insane. It was making me nervous. But then I pivot. Then I said, just stop. Just do what you normally do. So I applied. I gave myself that every day is a different day. The second thing was, remember, it's relational. What did that room ask from me in that moment? And that helped me realize that changing and framing and working with my words in a different way, I stood up and I spoke to the room rather than at the room. In the end, I had more people coming up to me and asking me to support them than ever before. And I was like, why was I stressing all this time trying to do it right? And that is something we tend to do with AI. Our relationship with AI is wanting to do it right and efficient, but we often fail to see that we're losing our expressiveness. So there you have it. I will be sharing more about these slogans in my newsletter. So if you haven't joined yet, this is a really good time. And I hope this gave you something to reflect on and to mull over. I look forward to connecting with you further. And if you haven't yet, make sure you hit that follow button and subscribe. Have a good one and enjoy this month's episodes.